Hey, would you look at that? We are back to a Halloween episode. This is our second annual Halloween episode. Our costumes are so damn unintriguing. Is that a word, Kelly?
It is now.
I feel like there's just so much to do. And here's my thing. Well, first of all, how the heck are you? What are you? Who are you? What's your costume? Tell me.
My costume is I left my original costume somewhere else, and so I'm a little bummed about it. So, luckily, Viridian Row, who has been a great sponsor of our show since the get-go, does these awesome quote shirts. So, I am Maverick today. So, talk to me, Goose. How's your Halloween going?
Oh, see, she must think I like Top Gun. You know I don't love Top
How
Gun.
can you not
I
love Top
and I
Gun?
and I think that was what it was. It's because people have done that forever. How could you not like it? You're supposed to like it. Like, stop acting like the Goonies was for everybody. I didn't like no damn Goonies. I know this is not the Goonies, but like these things that people feel like are the
How
status
are we
quo.
friends? Like, how
No,
are we friends?
no, no. I barely like Stand By Me. But Top Gun, I mean, the music was good. I can give you that. The Take My Breath Away was good, but like the the adrenaline of being in a plane, like I think it wasn't even that, because I could get behind the adrenaline of a plane, but it
Mhm.
was the like, yeah, Goose, what?
It's your wingman. Like you're my wingman. I'm gonna start telling you that all the time. Talk to me, Goose. That's gonna be the new thing.
No, please don't, because my brother has done that before too, because he loves Top Gun, and he's like one of those. He's also one of those like everybody loves it. Everyone in America loves it. No, 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 no. I was watching like other programs. No, no, movies. Anyway, so that's your costume on our
Hmm.
second annual Halloween costume. Episode. How about that? We have managed to be less perfect than we were on our first annual, right? Because on
I
the first,
mean, we tend to be less perfect all the time,
I think
which
it
is
was
pretty
on the
funny to me.
first. Say it again.
It's just funny to me because it's just such our brand, which is fantastic.
On the
So we're
first
always on brand.
annual, you had a like a paper mache, um what was that called?
Oh yeah, it was the Saw doll. My
Yeah, I mean,
sister had made it. It was
um
fantastic. Go back to our old episode and look at it because just like the she created this like huge face of that creepy Saw doll, and I
yeah.
put it in the background. It was awesome.
I played around with some special effects in terms of the skeleton, which we brought the skeleton back. The skeleton is right. If you're only listening audibly, you don't get to see it. Go to YouTube to get there. It's going to be difficultpodcasters.com is the easiest way to see it. But I brought the skeleton again with me, so that's a close up of the skeleton, which is basically right behind me, and my my lover for the for the Halloween festivities. But what I was saying is we didn't step up our game. And I have a reason why. Because when we did the first season, we were doing our first Halloween episode and we worked really hard for that. But I think in my mind, I said, okay, surely we won't be in the same position next year. Next year, we'll have some giant, we have the support of Iridian Row and we love that. But we'll have some giant advertisers, some giant numbers, staff, because we're so good. We are so good. And so when this year came up and I was like, oh, we're doing this shit again alone for 10 people in the audience, even though we're amazing, I think it got to me. So, anyways, needless to say, my
So your
costume
costume is.
is a disgruntled Twitter user. Yeah.
So are you leaving Twitter now that Elon Musk took over?
Yeah.
Are you gonna be
Disgruntled.
one of the people that pieces out?
Yeah. Bye bye, Birdie. It's happening. Yeah. No, that's not really my costume. But anyways, how are you doing? Can I show you one thing before we start? And I know you have
Yeah.
a lot to cover here today, but I gotta tell you, we talked a little bit about Halloween last week, last episode, and I was like, oh, I love a jack-o'-lantern. I have a lot of spirit. And it does really piss me off that with my work week and schedule, I wasn't able to bring you a costume today. I really do, even though I just shitted on it all, I really do feel like, damn, I would have loved to have, you know, some type of, I don't know, something stupid even would have been great for me, costume wise. So I feel a little lackluster, but I don't lose the spirit of Halloween because last week I had told you that I love a jack o' lantern, and this is the jack o' lantern. I brought it for us to see.
Oh, I love it. I love it. See, I didn't even get that far this year. Life got in
Really?
my way.
Oh,
No, so I love that. Last year we
I
did
always
it, but
do.
I didn't get to do it this year. So I
Um,
didn't
I,
make the time for it, which I should have.
well, we have a cute little happy Halloween to everybody. This is episode 40. Can you believe it? Let's start this off,
No,
Kelly.
it's amazing.
Episode 40. Tell me how badass and amazing you think we've done in the 40 episodes.
Um, I, of course, I think we are amazing because why wouldn't we think that we're amazing? But it's just been so fun, and I think that the level of what we talk about and the way that we talk about things has just progressively gotten better. So I hope you can all agree, that it's gotten a little bit more fun and our flow tends to be better as the episodes progress. So it's fun and it's getting more fun. You're hopefully getting to know us a little bit better as we kind of relax into it.
Yeah, but I think you have more stories than me. That's one thing that I've noticed. Like, Kelly has all the good stories. It turns out when we were in our 20s, she was like working hard and playing hard, and I was just like, give me a raise, company. I hope to be somebody famous one day. So I've learned that you had a little more fun and I had a little bit more I was a little bit more into the work, you know?
Well,
Not
I
that you
got
weren't.
lucky, but I got lucky that my jobs were to have fun.
Yeah.
So while I was like hustling to make my rent, I was at a party doing it.
Mm.
So I kind of got to tie those two things in together, which was such an ideal thing for somebody in their 20s and early 30s to, just kind of live it up in a new city. So it
Well,
was pretty amazing. My mom used to tease me and be like, "Yeah, of course, like you would find a job to where you got paid to just go out and drink." And my job was a lot harder than that, but that's
oh
kind of
yeah,
what
yeah, yeah.
everybody thought it was because, that's what you make it look like.
Well, towards the end of the episode, we'll take a look at maybe one of your old jobs in a very unique and special way. Something that a lot of people talk about, and Kelly was right in the mix. But let's hold that for now. Do you want to talk about this movie that we both love? And you were saying there's going to be a remake as well. Um,
Yeah, it just was announced that one of my beloved old school movies, Death Becomes Her, is getting remade. And although I am not a huge fan of the remakes, but I think this one's going to be unique because Goldie Hawn's daughter, Kate Hudson, is taking over her role. So that'll be interesting to watch and give you a little bit of that same quirkiness that we got from Goldie because her character was amazing. And Anne Hathaway is
mm,
going to be taking over the role of Meryl Streep.
I
So,
like it. It'll be
and I
good.
like the two of them together. I liked their chemistry and what was it, Bride Wars or something like that?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure if they've done anything
They were,
together.
yeah,
Yeah.
together they were in Bride. I think it was called Bride Wars.
Yeah, I mean, it has to make sense with the daughter situation. So there might be a
Hmm.
cameo Goldie Hawn
I mean,
should
that would
make,
be amazing.
maybe. You know, she's still alive.
Because yeah, she's living forever.
Well, we learned that Death Becomes Her has the ending that we all, fell in love with when the movie came out 100 years
Hmm.
ago. But it sounded like I was making a diss. No. But a long time. It was in the 80s, right, when this came out?
Yeah,
Okay. But we had found out that there was an alternate ending or an original ending that didn't go the way that we saw it in the theaters.
right. Yeah, so originally, the original ending was that the Bruce Willis's character had faked his death to get away from the two of them because they were just taunting him and he was kind of over it. So he fakes his death, moves away and remarries and settles into this new life and becomes grows old and lives out a full life. And the two of them happen to run into him, and his wife, and now they're an old elderly couple. And it just kind of ends with them realizing how miserable they are, and being young isn't always the best solution. And it kind of gave the impression of you should just lean into your life, accept how it is, and enjoy it, and just grow old gracefully was the message. But I guess the test audiences were like, nah, we're not having that. So they went
Yeah,
with
they
the
seem
other
to
ending.
they seem
They
to
didn't want the
prefer.
nice little sentimental, let's just all live our happy lives and be who we are. No.
Yeah. It'll be interesting how the remake will be. It'll probably be
Mhm.
a whole different story, but it's definitely a cute movie and I really liked it. Very campy. I'm interested to see who the guy in the lead role will be because that'll sort of make it work or not, too. So it
Mhm.
should be interesting. Um Halloween. Do you want to share some of
Ooh.
Kellie's ghost stories? Wow, whose voice was that?
I am all about the ghost stories. I love them. My aunt is notorious for loving, she loves to go like ghost hunting, and she loves like all things spiritual and, kind of paranormal and that sort of thing. And you kind of got us a little bit more interested in it. But I grew up in this little small town before moving to Austin, and it's in this little town in West Texas, and it's called Abilene, Texas. And it's not that big, but my grandpa owned this little house that used to that it's still there, but it's one of the creepiest houses I've ever set foot in. Now, in Abilene, Texas, these older houses that were built in the late 1800s, early 1900s, obviously they didn't have central heat and air. So as the years progressed and they were kind of, they were transferred ownership and all that, not many people upgraded them to central heat and air. So they had all these window units. So in the Texas summers are horrible. They're hot, humid, it's gross. In this house, there's window units in all the rooms, but there was this one particular room, and my grandpa had remodeled the whole house. So what now was a bedroom used to be the kitchen, and what was the kitchen used to, like, he just kind of switched it all around. But in this one back bedroom, it was always freezing. The air conditioner would be off, and we like would keep that door closed because that room was creepy AF. But if you went in there, it was ice cold all the time. It could be 110 degrees outside, but that room was freezing and there was no central heat and air.
So make it
So
make sense. Make it make sense.
how do you
How?
make it make sense? Like, if you are a non-believer, you don't believe in spirits and ghosts and all that, make that make sense to me. How is that room freezing? I'm telling you, you need a jacket to go in there. It's so cold.
And
No,
you know
like
what's
the
funny?
air conditioner's off.
Because we're journalists, we were
Mhm.
live on the scene to get some actual footage of Kellie's reaction when she walked into the Abilene home into the freezing bedroom.
Yep, that was me, because it's like OMG.
And then when it happened a second time, she said,
No, but seriously though, so many creepy things happen in this house. So that room's always cold. So we never would let the door shut all the way. So there was this ceramic rabbit that my aunt had, or somebody had, that that was really heavy, so it would prop the door open. And that was my cousin's room, but they never slept in it because why would you? That room, there was something not okay with that room. So they would sleep in the living room instead of in their room. And the only way they would go into that room was if the door was open. One day, all of us cousins were having a sleepover. We were spending the night in the house, and we were all camping out in the living room because, again, who's going to go in that creepy room? No, thank you. Well, in the middle of the night, we're like all laying around, and me and two of my cousins are still wide awake, so we're just kind of talking. My younger cousins are asleep. All of a sudden, my youngest girl cousin, she just like sits straight up in bed, slowly turns her head towards us, and just starts talking in her sleep. But it was the creepiest thing I've ever seen. So we just all like freeze and we're looking at her. And then we like feel her face like she's asleep because we had all the lights off. We lay her back down. Probably maybe a minute and a half later, her brother does the exact same thing. Straight up in bed, slowly turns his head towards us and just starts talking. So we're like, what? So again, then I make my cousin like, I'm not touching this kid. So my oldest cousin, like, she goes over to him, touches his face. He's asleep. She lays him back down. Now, mind you, these kids have no history of sleep talking, no history of ever doing it. They've never done it before, have never done it since. So we're sitting there, we're on edge, and we're like, okay, so we're all getting scared, the three of us that are awake. All of a sudden, we see this car like pull into the driveway.
and
So we're like,
is this like a desolate area? Like,
no,
it's
it's a residential street in the middle of town.
but what time of the night is it?
So this is probably about midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning.
So it's a peculiar drive up. Yeah.
And they have a fence all the way around the house.
Mm.
So you have to open the gate in order to drive in up to the doorway. And my aunt has like 100 dogs.
Yeah.
So we see this car drive up to the door because the headlights are in the window. We can see it. The dogs are like going nuts. And we're like, who's here? So I look out the window and I see this like, like Monte Carlo style car that's like a tan colored car. I'm like looking at it, but I can't see anybody in the car because like the lights are in my face. So it would drive in, sit for a second, back out, drive around the block, and do it again. And it did it like a few times. And so I went and I woke up my aunt and I'm like, there's this car driving in. And she sits up with us and it doesn't happen anymore. She doesn't see it. She's like, y'all, I'm tired, whatever, go to bed. So we go to bed she goes to bed. So we're sitting up there again. Then the car does it again. So I have my cousin like open the door. There's a screen door that, like I said, the dogs are going nuts. So they open the door. I'm looking out the window and I'm like, who's in the car? And they're like, we don't see the car. And I was like, but I see the car. And they're like, I don't see the car. Like they can't see the car when the door is open, but I could see the car in through the window.
Yeah, they could see it when they were in the window too, though, right?
Yeah, when we're looking at the window, we could see the car. So we're like, my third cousin, he's going back and forth, and he's like, we're like freaking out, waking up my aunt and uncle again. They're getting mad because they don't see what we see. We don't know what's happening. So needless to say, we never slept in that house.
Yeah.
But fast forward to a few months later, I'm sitting with my grandpa asking him about this house, and we start researching the house. We become obsessed with the history of this house because so many people had different experiences in this house. I'm talking to my grandpa about it. He starts telling me a story about this car that was driving in and out of the driveway, and I almost like passed out. So he had seen the exact same thing years before while he was remodeling that house. But we could never figure out who it was or what it was. I can't hear you.
He was familiar.
Okay,
see, look at
see?
I feel wow. No. That's so weird. Yes, here I was going to ask you a question, and yes, the old microphone went away. So you feel like you saw this thing, and when you got closer, it was basically not present for your cousin. Makes no sense. You tell your grandpa, and he tells you what you're about to tell him.
Yeah, I didn't even tell him the story. He told it to me first.
Oh boy.
And then I told him the same. I said, "Wait," and I described what we saw, the style of the car, the color of the car, all that, and he's like, "Yes." And then I like got super scared and was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, call my aunt. We're like, "See, we told you," and she's like, "Whatever."
Well, you see, I don't think people believe or don't believe these stories. It's just more they don't want to be around the stories because I don't see myself wanting to watch a paranormal. If I'm looking through the TV for a movie or a TV show, I don't get excited about this, but you do.
Oh, I love it. I've watched like Discovery Plus and all the My Haunted House, celebrity ghost stories, when ghosts attack, all that stuff. Like it is so fascinating to me, especially just like the little things that we've experienced just in our family alone and things that people have said and stuff. It's just, I don't know, I just find it interesting.
It is interesting, and I'm not, for the record, I'm not dismissing it. I'm more so saying, ooh, I don't know if I want to like conjure anything up. You know what I mean? Let's leave it alone. Conjure is maybe not the word.
That's a good series of semi-autobiographical stories. The Conjuring.
But I did remember one time in life, I did think somebody did touch my buttocks. And so maybe there was a ghost in that moment.
I mean,
and I swear I turned around so fast and I said, it's such a hard one to prove because it was in the middle of New York City. So it could have been like anybody because you're walking with like, 60 people around you at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
But I turned so fast. I was like, who touched my butt? Like something did actually touch my butt. I remember getting like a little grab.
Okay.
Yeah, like a little grab.
Okay, that's a significant touch.
So I'm not saying if it was a spirit or a ghost or anything like that. I'm just saying I remember that being peculiar. Should I be alarmed of something like that? Well, wait, you're not alarmed of thsaying that they exist.
Well, I mean, at the time when you're personally trying to figure out what's going on, yeah, it's really creepy and scary. Especially we were really young when this happened. And the most interesting thing about this house is my grandpa, once my aunt had moved out of it, he started renting it out. And for whatever reason, she left that ceramic rabbit in the house to prop that creepy room open, the door. That house had multiple renters, but they would move out like in the middle of the night and never say anything.
Oh,
They would just like
because
take
people who
off.
they'd show up, they were like, "Not with this house. I'm out of here." Yeah.
So they never said
Mm.
anything, but I'm
Is the house still
guessing the
is the
house is
house
still
still
there.
erected to this day?
Yeah, people somebody's living in it now.
Oh,
But
oh,
but
wow.
everybody that moved in and out of it always left that ceramic rabbit. It's
Yeah.
probably still there.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Nobody
Wow.
ever said anything, never admitted anything to my grandpa, but they would just like take off and like never come back.
Mm.
So I'm like, I think something has happened. My grandpa found some weird stuff buried under the house when he was remodeling it. Some like brujeria stuff, like bones wrapped in old newspaper with feathers and like people like stuff you would think that people that are into kind of black magic and stuff like that would probably leave. And he had a lot of crazy experiences, and I used to love to listen to his stories because they were so nuts. It was just weird and very unexplainable, but he would never get
Wow.
scared. He was just like, whatever.
Is this what they do in Texas? My gosh.
I mean, I would love to hear like anybody's stories if you have some, crazy, creepy stories or things you can't explain. Like I'm all
Notice
about
she said she would like to hear that.
it.
He never said that. He said, "You keep these stories, keep them under wraps." No,
Oh, and I've got
let's.
tons of them. So if you want
Did
to hear
you
more.
did you ever think that it was like not some type of a ghost, but did you ever think it was like maybe like the killer or something like that? Did you ever think it was actually like, you know what I mean? Because how do you define that it's like this odd, unique thing that's happening versus like, oh, somebody could have been breaking in or whatever?
Well, because there was nothing tangible. So with the room getting cold, how can somebody come in and do that without there's no central heat and air, there's nothing blowing in there, there's no wind. There's the room just if you close the door and stand in it, it will turn like into an ice box. Like how I mean, maybe somebody could do I don't know. Maybe somebody could put something in the walls or underneath on the floor. I don't know. Maybe there's some scientific way to explain that. But just that thing, that part of it alone, I don't know. And my cousin and I went to the library in Abilene and went through some of the old archives to see who owned the house before my grandpa and when it was built and just to see if it was built over an Indian burial ground or anything like that. And actually there was an Indian burial ground across the street but not associated with the house. So it could kind of be and nothing's ever been built on that land. It's still there's no houses or anything on where that burial ground is. It's just empty land. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But an interesting thing when we were looking through the iCar archives, there were 3 big pages of information that were ripped out of the book, and it was before they were digitized. So before my grandpa got it, a couple years before, whatever the history of that house is, it's gone. It was just torn out of the book. So I don't know.
I don't have any follow-up questions, Kelly. I'm like, this is your segment. Go for it. You have
I
fun.
mean, it's just interesting stuff.
Yeah, this is something else. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to contribute, You'd have to ask me questions. I don't know. All I
I
can
mean,
tell
you've
you.
never experienced anything odd, like anything like that, things
Well,
that
I
you
said the
can't
person
explain, like
touched my
well,
butt. That
aside
was
from
it.
that, but I mean, that could, when you're in a crowd or something, that
No,
can
no, but I
kind of
swear that there wasn't a person because I turned so quickly.
oh, right.
I was like, who that? I mean, I in my mind, but you're right. It could have been somebody.
I
It could have been a muscle spasm. I don't know.
mean, it could have been. It could have been. I don't know.
No, I don't have any. I don't have any of those. And if I did, I wouldn't be
Mhm.
talking about it. No, no, no. I'm gonna let that live. I'm gonna or live, or I'm gonna let
Mhm.
that simmer down.
Mhm.
No, this is more your thing. This has been Kelly's ghost stories. Um,
Ooh.
no, do you have more? You could say
I
something
mean,
else.
I have tons of them. So, I mean, if this is anything of interest and anybody wants to hear more, maybe I can do some little shorts just about different stories. And like I said, I would love to hear your story. So, if you're watching and comment,
I
tell me
think
some of your stories.
I think I would like to go to where do they say like New Orleans is spooky or whatever,
Oh yes.
or I would like to do something like that.
Hmm.
Versus like I'm trying to like recall like how many times did something not add up,
Well, my house in LA was haunted. I can tell you
Are
that
you
story real
sure it's
fast.
not just they're following you?
They could be following me. They really could be following me. I've had a few people say that claim to be like clairvoyants and stuff.
Yeah.
But this house I lived in LA, it was in the Hollywood Hills area. And the property itself was converted into 3 apartments, but it used to be like a front house and then like a back house, which I think was kind of like the maid's quarters or whatever. And that's where we lived. So it was a 2-bedroom house. And this house was amazing. I loved it. But when you walked in the front door, you were still outside. So it had a covered porch and front patio that was enclosed with the front door. So you would have to go through the front door, go up the stairs. Um,
Why does the ghost keep muting me? Kelly, when's the last time we had a mute issue?
don't know.
The ghost keeps muting me. I can't stand it. This is becoming too real. And you got ghost stories over there. My microphone's muted. I got the skeleton behind me. Ah!
It's
No, I was
getting
gonna tell you. I've been to that house. I know
Yes,
which
we
house you're
had
talking
this.
about.
Yeah,
With
we
the
had
porch in front. It had the long, like outdoors area, and
the
then you walk.
wraparound porch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was about a 2-bedroom. Yes, exactly. Okay, so I'd been in there before,
you've
but you
been in
said
there.
it was haunted. Oh
It
no.
definitely was. So
Oh
it's like
no.
the house is built into the hill, like up against it, and they tiled around this back area. So we had the biggest hangout area was the front porch because the back porch was really small because it was literally into this hill. But there's a lot of people that have been said to commit suicide up in the hills. A lot of lost souls up there. If you read the history of Los Angeles, a lot of people have said that. So it was up toward where the Hollywood sign is, but we couldn't see it from our place. It was in this area called oh, now I can't remember. But I'll have to come back and say what this little neighborhood is. But one day I had a roommate and his room was off of the kitchen. So our rooms were separated by the kitchen and the second bathroom. So I couldn't really ever hear what was going on over there, but he used to work nights. And so I would be in the house by myself until probably about midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning when he would get home. Sometimes he would get home a little earlier between 10 and 11:30, depending on his schedule. But I had just gotten a new dog. And first of all, when I first moved into this house, I was terrified of it. I used to have to sleep with all the lights on. For whatever reason, I don't know, but I was super
Wait, why
uncomfortable.
would you move into that house if you didn't like it from the beginning?
I didn't feel that until I was already moved in and I was there by
Mm.
myself one night.
So
So,
you felt like it was a little spooky
mhm.
and something going on even before the story you're about to tell me.
Yeah, and it was before I owned a dog. So I was
Hmm.
completely by myself. But I used to seriously sleep with all of the lights on. And for some reason, I guess because I'm a little claustrophobic, like I can't close the door, so I have to have the doors open. I need to be able to see around the corner. I don't like to feel
Mm.
closed in. So I don't want to be with my door closed and like just in this little like
We're
cubicle by myself.
opposites. We're
No,
opposites
I
on that.
have to have the doors open.
I am a traditional all doors need to be shut.
No,
I
no, I can't. I
cannot.
need to
And
see.
I
I need
lived
to
in a
see.
studio apartment once, which was the
Yeah.
hardest because it's like you're like in the living room and then you go like this and now
No,
you lay down.
yeah.
It was so hard to not have a place to go, like a transport your body to a place and
Mhm.
go to sleep. So I'm every time I get a chance, you will never see me go to sleep with the door open. I want the door
Yeah.
closed. I even want the door locked. My roommate once was like, "Why do you lock your door?" I'm like, "It's a habit. I just love a locked door. I do. I love a locked door." Okay, back to you.
No,
Back to
yeah.
back
So
to Kelly's
I
ghost
was I
stories.
just was. I don't know what I was afraid of. I just had a scared feeling. I would just be scared. So I had all the lights on in my room when I would go to sleep, and I would go to sleep with the television on. And it's become such a habit. I do it now, scared or not. I just always have to have the noise. But after a while, I started to relax a little bit and I started to turn more lights off. But then I adopted a dog. And so I wasn't by myself and it was great. And as she got acclimated to know my roommate and to kind of know the house and all of that, she got to know our schedules and just kind of the patterns that we had coming home. Well, one night I was laying on the couch with her, and the couch that I was sitting on was up against a wall, and the bathroom and the kitchen were on the other side of the wall. So I couldn't see into the kitchen because my back was to it and I was watching TV. So again, when you come into this house, you have to walk through the front door. You're still outside. You go up the stairs, and then you have to come into come in through a second door to get in the house. So we had a door to the side that had a screen door, and then we had some French doors that opened that went into the kitchen that were like catty corner from each other. So depending on which way you wanted to come in, you would either come into the hallway right by where I was, or you would walk straight into the kitchen. So my roommate, when he would get home, he would usually come in through that screen door and then come in, go to the kitchen, get something to drink, go to his room. That was kind of his ritual, and then come and say hi to me. So this particular night, it was probably about 10:30, watching a movie. I hear all of these sounds. I hear the front door open. I hear steps, somebody walking up the stairs. It's about the time my roommate sometimes comes home, so I didn't think anything about it. I hear the door open, somebody walk in. My dog goes into the kitchen to greet whoever is home, me thinking it's my roommate. I hear this person go into the kitchen, open the refrigerator, shut the refrigerator, open a cabinet, shut the cabinet. I heard all the noises. And then my dog comes like back over and sits with me, but a light never turned on and he never came in. So I was like, that's weird. So I looked around the corner and it was still dark in there. I called his name and nothing. Nobody was there. He came home about an hour later.
So you what'd you do from the hour to the hour? Like
So I just sat there and I literally sat there, I said out loud, I was like, okay. And I just kept watching TV. I never got up. I never went to investigate. I was like, all right then.
But you were sure somebody was in there.
All the sounds.
Yeah.
I heard them all.
And he couldn't have like came home, went out to the bar.
He would have told me.
Yeah, because you told him you were worried about
And when he got home, he was still in his work clothes and he had not been home yet.
Yeah.
And I was like right by, the door was behind me. I heard it swing open, like I heard all the sounds.
Damn.
So I never told anybody that would come over. We never told anyone that we had had any experiences. His only experience that he really had was that his bedroom door would open. Mm-hmm. Like he'd go to sleep, close it, and it would kind of be open when he would get up. So he had to start locking it. And that could have been a shifting of the house. And
I was going to say, yeah.
That could have been that.
Well, that's what makes these stories hard. It could always be something, an actual thing. Right. It could actually be a prowler coming in, which is also, scary, or, an unexplained, ghost story. So, listen, you've got these great ghost stories. I feel like we'll have to table this and do more and more, because this whole episode is about ghosts and Halloween. So we want to look at some Halloween pictures, but this has been Kellie's Ghost Stories. Such a good voiceover. Yes. Can we table it at that and then move on to some Halloween costumes?
There's been some great costumes.
Let's just go and judge a bunch, and then we'll do some celebrity ones, and then we'll finish out with some other Kellie stories. Lo and behold, more stories from you. Okay, so we're just gonna look at some costumes and then decide if we like them or not. This one's actually like an old one. This one's Heidi Klum from a couple years ago, but I just could not put this here for us to review because it's just so good. Yeah,
it's so good. Always has great costumes.
Everyone should always imitate the Jessica Rabbit, because you really can't go wrong. I mean, even if you're more voluptuous, like it's just such a good look. I love the comedy aspect of it, and the va va voom. Yeah, I guess it's not comedy. Va va voom. What do you think of this?
It's okay.
All right, moving along.
Oh, I like the makeup. That one's cool.
Yeah. All right.
That's funny.
This one I liked, like, in your cosmetic surgery, bliss or whatever. I thought that was kind of cool.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. We're just looking at photos, Halloween photos, and we're just judging, because that's what we do. When we're not telling ghost stories, we are judging. So, and then we'll do some other stories that are coming up, because we just don't want to make the episode 2 hours like we used to do. This is fun. It looks like it's a little bit of a flash mob of some sort. So that could be fun.
The Walking Dead zombies.
Yeah, the ghouls and goblins. This one I like. This is a bunch of balls, and you have a little pubic hair off the top. So I think that's like
naked.
Yeah, because that's some pubic hair right off the top. So it's like, he's in a bucket of balls, and like right where his balls start.
Balls.
Yeah. So he doesn't have the greatest body. He's just lean, but still. Hurricane reporter, I thought was kind of funny. that's just interesting. And then this one was really good from
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. Yep, I like that.
That's a great one.
Some
Mhm.
hot sauce here. So this one is good.
Nice.
I like
With
costumes
the
like this
creepy
that are
nun.
and the creepy nun. I like costumes like this that are big and bulky. Um, and then this is
Mhm.
just an array of people. Um, we had this too. This is, I guess, this would be a take on like a Hugh Hefner Playboy playmate situation. So I thought that was somewhat funny.
Yeah.
Did you want to skip
Oh, there's a
to?
baby too.
Oh, yep. The baby's
She's
coming.
holding a baby. I just realized that. That's hilarious.
And then of course, like an epic Halloween moment is always going to be the late Hugh Hefner. Oh, Anna
Mhm.
Nicole Smith's even in this picture.
Yeah, Anna Nicole Smith,
Which
yeah.
is quite intriguing. Where do you want to go? Do you want to look at the latest celebrity Halloween costumes, or do you want to talk about some great memories you had even with Hugh Hefner? It makes it sound like
Oh,
there's
I mean,
something else
I
happened.
worked at
Sorry.
Playboy. I worked at Playboy for 5 years in my early PR career, and, Playboy was notorious for having epic, Halloween parties, and there were some great costumes, and, the girls always went all out and had some really fun costumes. Holly, Bridget, and Kendra were living there throughout my tenure, and they really got into it and had fun, and there was always an epic haunted house on the grounds, and they did like a front lawn cemetery. The decorations and all of that were really really fun, and I had some great memories and some fun stories from my time there.
Yeah.
That I had my first Neil Patrick Harris encounter at the Playboy Mansion.
We've mentioned before, like
um
where, why do you like Neil Patrick Harris? You're like, well, once when I was working for Playboy for Hugh Hefner, like at the Playboy Mansion, you were there and you greeted them and you just kind of developed a rapport. So yeah,
Well, I've always, like, been a fan of his. Like, I was a fan of his on Doogie Howser when he was young, and then when he kind of made that hilarious comeback in the Harold and Kumar movies, I've just always had such great respect for him and his career, and he's, like, always seemed like such a nice guy. And, my first no, it was my second Playboy Mansion party. My second Playboy Mansion party that I was working, and he was there in these, like, elaborate costumes with he and his husband, David, and they always do elaborate costumes, and now with the kids it's like these family ordeals, and he had these great costumes, and that was the first time I like dared to go up and chit chat with him, and it was really fun.
other
uh,
Playboy Mansion Halloween parties, people that you met. You also ran into who else?
yes, Captain America himself. So if you're watching or listening audibly, this is a photo of me with Chris Evans and with Hugh Hefner's son Cooper. As a matter of fact, it's the three of us in this picture, and this was early. This was probably around the time that the first Captain America movie had come out, and he was hanging out at the mansion, and he's such a nice guy. So I was obsessed with Chris Evans way before everybody became obsessed with him on social media now. So
You're
you
like
guys are
you're like a
late to the game.
tastemaker. Yeah, you're in it. Do
But
you have
I
it?
met him for the first time there. So and I actually introduced him to Hef, and when I saw him after that, he was like, "Oh, thank you so much for hooking that up and all of that." So that was
While we're
nice.
talking about Halloween, this great known Halloween party at the Playboy Mansion, everyone talks about it. Kelly got to be there. Do you have any words that you want to say in terms of like maybe has Hef gotten a bad rap, over the years? Is there anything you wanted to kind of make mention of? Because I feel like your experience was always so good there, but then again, you're a great worker. You got a straight head on your shoulders, and you mixed work with fun, and I think it's been a good experience for you. But what do you think just about reputation and what people think when they think, "Ooh, the Halloween party, what happened?"
Well, I think that everybody's experience is their own, and it's all different, and I can only speak about mine. And I worked there, like I said, for 5 years when I was in my mid to late 20s, and I worked directly for him, but I had a professional relationship with him and with the girls and his kids, and I did a lot of personal stuff for him as far as like publicity and PR stuff. But my experience was really good. I mean, there was this one time when he got mad at me for something, and then I was like afraid of him, and not because he did anything in it, but he got
Yeah.
really upset. We were like out at this club, which why was he out at clubs at like his
Why
age?
was he
But
out
whatever.
at clubs till the end? Yeah.
We were at a club, and there was like a misunderstanding about something, and he like yelled at me about something, and I had just started working there, and I was young, and I was mortified, and I fixed it, and everything was fine, and I couldn't really tell if he was mad because he was kind of laughing while he was mad, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, this isn't okay. And so I would like hid from him for like a year. I would just always
Oh,
like leave the room and never be around. And I never, I was just always trying to stay out of his way. But it turned out to be fine. And I ended up like planning his wedding. We became, it was all
yeah.
good. But that was kind of my one thing where I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But things happen. And like I said, it was like a misunderstanding, whatever. But
And that
the
also might have
parties
been
were
a
always good. No,
that
go
that
ahead.
might have been a transitional part too between where you were at in your publicity career towards like getting with working there is such a big, a
Oh,
big step.
yeah. It
So
was
it's probably that too.
I was very young, and in my career, it was early, and I was still kind of like getting the groove of things, and all of that. So I probably shouldn't have been alone with him at this club. Had never going out with him before,
Yeah.
and I think they kind of like threw me out there a little too early. I don't think I was really ready for it as much as I thought I was, clearly, but it all worked itself out. But the parties themselves were always fun. I mean, people got, a little crazy and out there, but I never really saw anything way out of the ordinary. I mean, I saw some people, there were like some people that had, they would be put in like these side tables in these little private areas, and um I kind of interacted with some, high profile people and stuff that I personally thought might have been a little high on life or a little high on something, but I never really saw what some people have described as like, people like doing drugs and doing all this. And I mean, that could have been the way it was way before my time when I wasn't there. I don't know, but I never really saw that.
Yeah.
And I was like a spy, always kind of, walking and looking and checking on everything because we had to, we couldn't have that because there was so much more press on it, and with social media and like different things, so we kept a close eye on that, and I never really saw that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I did hear stories, like Dave Navarro told me a story once where he got kicked out of the Playboy Mansion for doing drugs,
Mm.
and he was on the do not admit list, so he had to do an apology, send a letter to Hef, and really kind of like take
Mm.
responsibility for that to be able to come back. He told me that story himself, so
I
I
I
don't
ima-
like, yeah.
yeah, I imagine it to be one of the things where maybe in the 90s it was a little more rambunctious than social media era where you were kind of having to monitor
I would
stuff, but
think
at the
maybe
same
more in the 70s too, because that was
right.
kind of, like, I mean, because I think he got the Playboy Mansion in LA like in the early 70s.
Mhm.
So when everything kind of, was really at its prime, was could have been when a lot of that stuff was really
Yeah.
kind of happening. But the behind closed door stuff and all that, obviously I don't know
Yeah,
any
I
of
imagine him to be the thing is like what people forget is everyone is sort of well from publicity too. You're branded as a thing. Like
that. Right.
nobody is exactly that all day long. It's
Mhm.
what you're going to see is the robe made sense, the several girlfriends, it all made sense, but that was the image and the marketing. So, you don't really know exactly, how people live.
It was a
Uh
very interesting experience, and
yeah.
for me, he was one of the most intelligent and cultured people I'll probably ever have the pleasure of interacting with, ever. I mean, there were so many things that he was involved in aside from the magazine and aside from his persona and all of that, just with history of human rights and women's rights and all these different things that people don't know about. And there's a really great documentary that was being made while I was there that's called Hugh Hefner, Playboy and Rebel. And it's really interesting because it delves in more into the humanitarian stuff and all of that. And I mean, that doesn't, and again, it doesn't change anybody's experience, that might have had a less than stellar experience there, and all of that. I never want to take that away from anyone. Everyone's experience is theirs, and mine just happened to be different. And again, but I was there on a professional capacity. I was never there personally, so I don't know any of that.
Yeah.
But it just really is interesting to know when you want to really talk about someone, then know all the sides, like get all the facets and see. It's
Yeah.
like the good stuff doesn't negate the bad stuff. It just kind of balances it out. And
Yeah.
depending on, your interaction and what happened for you, then that's really
Yeah.
all,
And for the most part, I'm also saying, what an epic way to celebrate a Halloween. you know,
yeah.
like if you're going to do it, you celebrate it kind of big, and it doesn't get any bigger than
Mhm.
a Hugh Hefner Halloween Playboy Mansion party, really, of that time.
Right. I
Shall
mean,
we?
people are trying to replicate it. Yeah. And there was some
Yeah.
great Halloween parties, over the weekend. So let's look at, some costumes that
All
for like
right.
celebs like out and about.
Okay, so this is again, if you're audibly listening, I don't know what to tell you. iTunes, or Apple Podcasts rather, Spotify, come on over to YouTube. Difficultpodcasters.com is where it's at. Can I tell you, before we look at celebrity costumes, I have to let you know, we are so thankful for Viridian Row. So Viridian Row, where creativity never goes out of style. This is oh, look at viridianrow.com is the website. If you want to order something there, you can. And we're just displaying some of the items that they have. And really, Viridian Row was the first powered by Viridian Row for our podcast. So the first people that took a support in what we're doing is them. So go to their Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram and buy their
Yes.
shit.
And they got me, Halloweened up today. So
I know I should have been so much better. I should have called Viridian Row and had them send me like a hat and a shirt, and I could have like wore some like interesting makeup. This is so lame that I don't really have my Halloween look together, and I do certainly apologize. But what I will tell you, if you want to support me, go check out all my other podcasts, Randomly with Ronnie Jr., Pop Culture POV, hashtag Randomly with Ronnie Jr., and let's shine a light on it.com. Everything could be centrally found through randomlyrjr.com. I do enough of these shows, so if you could support them a little bit better, maybe we could have a little bit more resources to do this damn episode a little bit better, because we're working so hard, and we wanted our second annual Halloween costume or Halloween event episode. We wanted our second Halloween episode to be better than our first, and sadly, it isn't. But let's get back into the show. So yeah, let's look at some of the celebrity Halloween costumes and give it a yay or a nay. Starting off with,
we've got Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox. They recreated an old Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee look. And I think it's pretty spot on. I think they did a great job recreating that. They've been getting a little bit of flack for it from some fans that were less than impressed with the choice of celebrities to embody. But I think
I
that's
don't
great.
mind it. I think they both do look good. I think that was it an FX or Hulu series? I didn't enjoy it very much.
Oh,
And
did you watch it? The one with
I
Sebastian Stan?
tried. I tried. I tried.
Oh.
I watched a little bit of it, and it just got so uninteresting that it took away from my the hype between the 90s, Pamela and Tommy. Like it was such a boner killer, actually. So you know what it made me think of? All the people who weren't around in the 90s, they think it's cool. The people who were around in the 90s were like, oh god, that movie was so stupid. I've not heard anyone or TV show. I haven't heard anybody say they like that TV show.
I haven't seen it. I heard that it was an interesting take on how their sex tape got out. Like that was the whole point. Like people thought that they had sold it, but it was actually stolen from them. So the show was supposed to go through like the trauma of that. But I haven't seen it. So I don't know.
Like Pamela Anderson, so there's no issue. It's not like I'm dogging her. I think she's fantastic. I used to love her MTV Cribs where she's like, oh yeah, I live in Malibu. And I always say, no matter where I end up having to work, yeah, the drive's a little further, but I'd rather come home to Malibu. Her kids being named Brandon and Dylan. Even so, one of the kids, I think it was Brandon, was on MTV's The Hills. Yeah, The Hills remake. So I'm like,
oh, really?
I'm not an anti, Pamela. I love Pamela so much. So I thought I would love that series, and I just didn't like it. So that's why when I see this costume of what's her name? Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly, I'm like, try something else.
Well, Machine Gun Kelly also played Tommy Lee in the Netflix movie about their life. So I think people have forgot that when they were like talking about this photo. So he's already kind of embodied him. So to me, like that costume totally makes sense.
Okay, next set of costumes, Kelly, give it to us.
Ooh, we've got Lizzo and Janelle Monáe. I think were amazing. Look at this, Marge Simpson. Lizzo transforms into Marge Simpson, which is awesome.
That is good.
And Janelle Monáe, she kind of embodied this alien from the old movie, Bruce Willis movie, The Fifth Element. Do you remember that movie? Did you ever see it?
I do remember the movie. I didn't see it, but I mean, it's Janelle Monáe. She's perfection at nearly everything she does. Yeah,
It's
these are really good.
insane. These are great costumes.
Yeah,
Really
if you had to
insane.
choose one of the over the other, let's go with Janelle Monáe.
Yeah, I mean
Why
that's just
did I just compete the two of them?
why are you trying to compete them like pit them against each other? Their
Well,
costumes are
you
both
know why?
fantastic.
Because every damn TV show now, you watch The Voice, it's like this
The
one versus this
competition.
one. Yeah, everything's a
No,
competition.
they're both
Anyway,
winners.
they're both really,
In
really good.
yeah,
Yeah, and
they're
I would say if they weren't, but I do like these.
mhm.
Moving on. So we have this one. It says, who is this? Camila Mendez, Lily Reinhardt, and
Uh-huh.
Madeline. Oh God,
Madeline Petch.
I
Uh-huh.
must be old because I only know Lily Reinhardt. Who are these gals?
So is it Camila Mendes? Isn't that a singer? Isn't she a singer?
Camila Cabello is a
Oh
singer.
no, these are the girls from sorry. These are the girls from the
Riverdale.
Riverdale. Yeah, these are Riverdale
Oh,
girls.
they're all Riverdale. Okay, because Lily Reinhardt
Yeah.
is from Riverdale.
Yes, they're all the Riverdale girls
Oh, that's
characters.
good. Hocus
Yeah.
Pocus. That's
So they did
cute.
Hocus Pocus. That's super cute.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we've got Jessica Alba, who is a creepy twins from The Shining.
Is it two Jessica Albas or what?
It's Jessica and her friend. I
Oh,
can't remember her friend's name, but it's her and her friend that dressed up as those creepy twins.
all good.
Mm-hmm.
Um.
Oh, and then we've
Okay.
got some Marvel action going on. So Kim Kardashian transformed into an X-Men Mystique from X-Men, who was
Not for me.
played.
Not for
No, you
me.
don't like it?
No, it's just like, as a human, do you? I mean, you have the finest body in all the land. Why do you do one note? Like, why do you do one note? You have all the money in the world, like, because all that is doing is saying, look, I've got the tightest waistline, the fattest ass,
Right.
it's just it's one note. I'm not saying you had to wear a cardboard or anything like that,
Yeah.
but it's one. What is supposed to be taken from that? Oh wow, look at you're so hot. Well, you were so hot on the Met Gala. You were so hot yesterday. You were like
It's basically it's all the same.
one note. Do something
Yeah.
different. Do
Oh, we
something
got
different.
Tyga. Tyga's ET.
Also, bam. No, no, no. What's that? Bam. No, no, no. I'm trying to do a buzzer. Bzz. No, that's not a buzzer. That's a vibrator. Bzz. No for Tyga. But they said Tyga did good on OnlyFans, but I could never. No, 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 no.
What?
No, 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 no. Okay, next set of photos. What do we got
Oh,
here?
I mean, I kind of like this one. JoJo Siwa. She is Draco Malfoy, and I'm digging it.
Okay.
She did good.
Yeah, she's likable.
Yeah, well, and then we've got Josh Duhamel and his new wife Audra Mari, who played who are kind of making fun of their age difference, and their costume is a take on Anna Nicole Smith and her husband. They're kind
Oh,
of like poking fun at themselves for having such a big age difference between the two of them.
second Anna Nicole Smith comment we had in today's
Yeah.
episode. Halloween
Mhm.
brings out Anna Nicole Smith love. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. I do like it.
Mhm.
It is a couple's costume. I'm not too familiar with JoJo Siwa's character. What character is that?
Oh, it's from Harry Potter.
Oh yeah. No,
Oh,
not for
yeah,
Ronnie.
it's Harry Potter. Oh, Ronnie.
I mean,
We
the
gotta
moment
expand your
the
cinema.
moment you put it on and it's like, wizards and, potions, I'm like, but is it real? No. So I'm disinterested. Oh, but look at the special effects, Ronnie. Look at the special.
You don't like
No.
the fantasy element? No?
No. 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 I like love and
Mm.
lust and drama and things that like make your emotions feel away. If I could put my hand up right now and all of a sudden like I could like sprinkle glitter across the screen, that's like so stupid. Like that's so dumb. How could that be entertaining to anybody? Like what? That's so dumb.
It
It's
is
a
amazing. Don't you badmouth Harry Potter.
You seen them all?
I've seen them all and read all the books.
Who are you? But you're probably saying the same about me. You're like, how can I do a
And the books
podcast?
are amazing.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Well, happy Halloween.
just tearing down my whole Harry Potter.
No, not at all.
But no, it's a lot of fun. And Halloween is a lot of fun. And I think these people they did a great job bringing out the costumes and really kind of getting into it and taking it to the next level. Some of
Yeah.
them. So,
Well,
there's
so what
some
are you
good
going to
stuff
try to
out
be
there.
next year other than a makeshift 5-minute put together costume? And what
I
was
don't
I? What was
know.
I?
A grumpy older man.
No, that's every day. Disgruntled
Oh,
Twitter
oh, that's right.
user.
Disgruntled
Disgruntled
Twitter.
Twitter user. Yeah, that's me.
Disgruntled tweeter.
Yeah, I'm a disgruntled tweeter. That makes me sound so young. Okay, so I told you that. Well, I didn't tell you. Yeah, I'm sure I did. If I ever had like a chance to get my midsection in order, I want to be. I want to do drag for Brenda K Star's video of I Still Believe, and I want to be Brendan K Star. And I but in the music video, she looks so good, and she's got a flat tummy, so I could never do it until I lose the weight. So I say it right now. I proclaim in 365 days. Hopefully, I could give you Brendan K Star for next year. Oh God, if we don't have big numbers by next year, I'm gonna be pissed because we have been at this shit for a while.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
this was
don't know.
fun.
Yeah. I dressing up and stuff is always fun. So I'll have to think about what I want to do. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Any
know.
last Halloween thoughts? We're wrapped out right now, basically.
Yeah, no, I
Thank
mean
you to
Halloween's
everyone for
fun.
watching. Yeah.
Stay safe out there if you're trick or treating tonight. And don't forget, if you see, older kids trick or treating, give them candy. Don't be rude. No judgments. I'm gonna go trick or treating.
The best thing about carving the jack-o'-lantern and costumes, and why I'm a bit disappointed that I didn't get to dress up now. However, no one knows our busy work schedules. But it's good because it's the one time you could detach from all the shit that goes on all the time. It's just such a, and I say this about everything. I say this like when Thanksgiving comes up, Christmas, New Year's, or whatever, when people are like super busy with their career and their work aspirations and no team, no sleep. And I got to just keep on grinding. No, you don't. No, you don't. I've done it. So let's not act like I've not. But in the bigger picture, you should be taking care of your health. You should be taking care of your mental health. You should be taking care of taking time to enjoy life's little pleasures. We have to act so perfect all day, every day. And then it doesn't make it better that the news is always giving us some really wild things to deal with. So if you have one chance to like say, oh, let me get a pumpkin and carve a jack-o'-lantern, do it. If you've got one chance to like take your niece trick-or-treating, do it. These are the fun things that we have, despite all the other stuff,
Yeah.
Dang, I just came alive at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
I was dragging. You know how many times I yawned and couldn't get my words out? I was like, I'm just go, Kelly. Go, Kelly. Go. Kelly, go. Go now,
See,
Kelly.
this is what not focusing on your self-care does. When you're grinding or burning the candle at both ends. So
I felt like I
this
was
is the best
bloated.
advice.
I think I had gas, and then it rose up into a burp. Like this has been a real SHOW.
I mean, isn't it always?
It always is. Final thoughts for you?
Just stay safe, have fun, and yeah, definitely. I want to see some cool costumes. So leave some photos, comment on our social media at Difficult Podcasters on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Show us what you got.
In 20 seconds. In 20 seconds or 20 seconds or less. Next year, if you were doing a couple's costume, you found your beau, what would be your couple's costume? 20 seconds. You got to think of something. Go. Okay, I'll go first.
Okay, go.
Ketchup and mustard. So if I'm dating somebody, we're gonna go as ketchup and mustard. What are you gonna do? Go quick.
Mike,
Go, Kelly. Go, Kelly. Go, Kelly.
Oh, I will do like a Captain America and Peggy. I would do them. Steve Rogers and Peggy. Yes.
Happy Halloween, everyone. Bye.
Fucking picture.
Woo!